you've been thinking of creating a profile for someone who has decided to put a word in for me, to support me at my level. Well, at the level of my connections. Well, at some points it gets pretty bad, especially when I became a teacher or when I socialized with the working class. But overall, well, let's go through the list. Let me just say that all of them have betrayed me, and I'm leaving my family aside because I don't even want to comment on that. And as far as the politicians goes, I exclude them for obvious reasons. I have never been in a direct contact with them, but we could speak of some directions that I took. Or perhaps I can list them at the end for the sake of clarity, but we have never established any contact really, any civilized contact. They have taken part in the crime, in the abuse, but we have never established any contact that could be called a real life contact. So let's go through the list of my connections. We start with the kindergarten. So the guy that I spent my time with playing was Marcin Ptak. He was very rich, and he was he was intelligent. He was very polite, and I believe he lives in the United States now, and he's probably somewhere at the top. Then we move on to the primary school, and then my friend was Tomasz Gołąbek. From what I know, he does photography as a hobby. When I last saw him, he was still intelligent. He looked pretty good, quite attractive, I must say, but I'm afraid his preferences are different from mine. Nonetheless, he was certainly worth spending the time with. We made the monument of Tadeusz Kościuszko out of the plasticine together. Anna Kostuch. She's the daughter of Tomasz Kostuch, who worked for TV already then in the communist times. They took part. She took part in those balls organized by the TV, where she met Natalia Kukulska. I believe Anna Kostuch is doing quite well now. Probably she's somewhere in journalism after her father. She wrote her MA thesis on the tapestry at the Waver Royal Castle. She specialized in biology, and she did the analysis of the vegetation at the time, from what I know. Małgorzata Węglarz. Małgorzata Węglarz is a nurse. Perhaps she's not the top of tops, but when I last saw her, she was still wearing her medal, which is quite something in the people of our age and in our times. So I believe she amounts to something. She is an alternate route if you think of me and Aha. So we both were wearing this something that I don't know what you call it, on a what is this part of the hand called? Well, you know, this long thread, and we were best friends at the time. we were on Anna Kostuch, Małgorzata Węglarz and me were on the volleyball team. Beata Stywryn. Beata Stywryn is a gypsy. And basically these are open fields and dogs running freely without the line. She's in the UK now, and she can afford going for holidays to some some island where she can enjoy a bit of the exotic. Dominik Sieńko. Dominik Sieńko is the Polish enterprise. He owns the printing office, and he's probably doing quite well. He's a businessman now. Tomasz Pawlak. Tomasz Pawlak is an Assangeist who used to use the nickname Neo, and that probably means a lot and has had quite an impact on the life of all of us who have ever been connected to Tomasz Pawlak. Working in journalism, from what I know, some time ago he specialized in working on the material to make it a whole, that is selecting the right parts and putting it all together, if I remember correctly. Krystyna Siąkowska was my maths teacher, worth mentioning because she knew how to do her job well. Perhaps she should have pushed me a bit more, and definitely I should have gone for the university class either of maths or even of physics as the second step after the primary school, which is the fifth liceum ogólnokształcące and comprehensive school. So I shouldn't have been discouraged from that, and I should have spent more time on my maths, but definitely as a maths teacher she amounts to something. Jacek Molczyk. Jacek Molczyk is the director of what? Of sales, I think. And perhaps that's quite enough to say. Kinga Krokosz. Kinga Krokosz is a professor at the Jagiellonian University, probably a PhD by now. Tatiana Tobolewicz. Tatiana Tobolewicz is a judge. Kamil Zawicki. Kamil Zawicki is a lawyer of the international range of service, from what I have read in his introductory self-presentation on his site. Artur Kowalski, my English teacher. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's probably not ashamed. Joanna Wołoczko. Joanna Wołoczko has graduated from the Jagiellonian University Iberian philology, I don't know. Spanish is the leading language, also supported by French. But then she went for work in tourism, then the fashion world via what is it called? One of those lines that sell cosmetics. Sephora. The executive position, from what I know. I don't know what happened next. Igor Tichanowicz. Igor Tichanowicz, because he has betrayed me, so I can betray him, went to France, where he specialized in creating routes for people running away from Russia. Otherwise, organizing huge parties. Anna Ziemblińska, the math teacher, but first of all responsible for our class in the secondary school. Well, she was the deputy director of the 6th Liceum Ogólnokształcące, the comprehensive school at the time. This is the school I attended as the secondary school. So that tells a lot. Robert Kłosowicz, the Jagiellonian University professor, specializing in history, the American line from what I know, but also a specialist in the area of national defense, working as a consultant now from what I know, or at least sharing his knowledge in lectures. Anna Cichopek, a specialist in Judaism or the history of Jews, perhaps the history of Jews, the Polish Jews, but I guess not only the Polish Jews. I'm not sure if she's working in the United States, living and working in the United States, or in the UK. I don't remember right now, but I think this is the United States. Professor Czyżyk. Professor Czyżyk, well, died some time ago, but in this crazy world worth mentioning. For some reason he was fired from the 6th Liceum Ogólnokształcące, that is the comprehensive school that I attended as the secondary school. But he was a great teacher, and he prepared me for my entrance exam for the Jagiellonian University, teaching Polish literature. And the lessons were certainly groundbreaking as far as my natural talents, supported by some proper guidance, go. Maria Borowska, the daughter of the director of the Polish philology at the Jagiellonian University, working in some company specializing in the research having to do with the psychology of the market, from what I know, but perhaps I don't know it too well. Probably living in the environment of the Warsaw University through her husband and friends from Warsaw. So somewhere in the area of history and philosophy. Agnieszka Puka. Working in Warsaw probably. Used to love dancing and the South America, or not? No, not necessarily the South America. Well, he's Hispanophilian. Hispanofilia. Well, she learned Spanish, and she thought of traveling to Cuba and other countries with Spanish. She wanted to be rich, and probably she has become rich. Paulina Stachiewicz, working as in journalism now, specializing in psychology, the second faculty philosophy apart from the English philology, with a period, I'm not sure if lasting, of working in evangelization, spreading the Holy Gospel. with the Jesuits. Artur Kożuch, working as the English teacher in in journalism some time ago, that is with preparing people, that is teaching people preparing for working in journalism. Quite bright. One can have good time dancing, and talking is not too bad either. Katarzyna Papaja, English teacher, probably one of the top ones by now. Rafał Radłowski, a lawyer. From the look of his side, somewhere in the Tomasz Lys's area, not doing too bad, I guess. Two faculties, English philology and law. Joanna Rumińska, probably one of the best translators by now. I don't know what she translates, but she must be doing quite well. Bartek Pietrzyk, one of the top translators. He has translated one perhaps more by now, but certainly one of Norman Davies's books, which puts him very close to the level to Professor Tabakowska. Zuzanna Paczewska, I'm not sure what she's doing now, but she started her career in the area of politics from working for the hospital in Warsaw, which was connected with the government in some way. I'm not sure if it's called the WSI hospital or something like that. I have no idea what it is, but I know that this is connected with politics. Probably working as a translator, or perhaps she has moved elsewhere. Maria Markiewicz, I'm not sure what she's doing now, but she's probably doing great, considering the fact that she has some experience in China, in the People's Republic of China, where she started learning Chinese, if I remember correctly, a long time ago, around 2001 or perhaps 2002, I think. Robert Boydak, I'm not sure what he's doing now. He was an English teacher. He might have changed his profession. Great for dancing. Michał Palmowski, a university professor. I'm not sure if the PhD by now. Alicja Sinialska, a university professor. English philology, teaching literature. Alicja Sinialska, a university professor, or perhaps not a professor, lecturer only. I mean, not lecturer, instructor English teacher. I'm not sure. But she might be a PhD by now, considering the fact that she has married Władysław Witalisz, who is a university professor, specializing in linguistics. Generative grammar, or perhaps she has changed her orientation with regard to linguistics a bit by now. Władysław Witalisz, a university professor. I'm not sure which level now. The last time I saw him, he was at the PhD. From what I know, most interest in the early literature. Likes order. English literature, of course, the Jagiellonian University. Krzysztof Stawowy, an actor. Teatr Stary, and I don't know what next. Also the cabaret, Kabaret pod Wyrwi Groszem, which is where I got to know, where I saw for the first time Alicja Bachleda, who reached Hollywood. Marek Kucza, for some time a university professor specializing in metaphysical poetry, English philology, the Jagiellonian University, then moved for business, selling cars, from what I have heard. Andrzej Kurtyka, a university professor, first specializing in different methods of teaching English, so quite good orientation in NLP and other modern methods of teaching already at that time, so before 2001. Then went for cultural studies, from what I know, and I don't know what he's doing now. Probably PhD by now or higher. Teresa Bella, a university professor, specializing in literature, English literature, and some of these connections are the student-teacher connections, so let me rewind for a while, but still these are my contacts. So Krystyna Siankowska is a teacher, student, a pupil-student, a pupil-teacher connection. Artur Kowalski is a friend connection. Anna Ziemblińska is a pupil-teacher connection. Robert Kłosowicz is a pupil-teacher connection, with a possible development into a friend connection, which has not happened. Professor Czyżyk is a pupil-teacher connection, but this is a special relationship. This was private tuition, so it worked a bit differently. Of course, all those people who are at my age, that is around 46, are friend connections or best friend connections. Władysław Witalisz is a friend connection. Krzysztof Stawowy is a friend connection. Marek Kucza is a student-professor connection, but on friendly terms, so towards friendship. Andrzej Kurtyka is a friend connection. Teresa Bella is a student-professor connection. Then Marta Gibińska, the university professor specializing in Shakespeare, the student-professor connection, the Jagiellonian University, one of the best specialists on Shakespeare. Elżbieta Tobakowska, the university professor specializing in cognitive linguistics and translations, and perhaps something more by now. The student-professor connection. Włodek Szturc, the Polish philology, the Jagiellonian University, specializing in comparative literature when I last saw him, which was before 2001 for sure. Connected to Grenoble at that time. A friend connection. Sławomir Sobczyk. Well, from what I have heard, 3 faculties. So, quite impressive. starting with the technical education, geology at Akademia Górniczo-Hutnicza in Krakow, married to a doctor specializing in cardiology, probably making a career. Małgorzata, whose surname I don't remember, but this is KTO Theater, KTO, kto? KTO Theater. She is the wife of the director of Teatr Bagatela. Adessa, which is one of the groups performing within the KTO Theater Street Festival, Street Theater Festival, and there was also the French group, but I don't remember its name. But Adessa for sure, because one of the actors from the troupe wanted to marry me, so that is definitely my connection. Monika Pawica, a teacher, 2 faculties by now, I guess, history and Polish philology, a friend connection, so this is when I became a teacher. Iwona Goslar, maths teacher, and now students, some students as friends. Justyna Pisz, a student, pupils, excuse me, pupils as friends. Justyna Pisz, a pupil. Some of them have different names, different surnames now because they have got married. And the same concerns my university friends, of course, and my school friends. Specializing in Russia, the last time I heard from her. I don't know, probably working for her PhD or already having one. Aleksandra Kicza, you all know Aleksandra Kicza. Klaudia Godzik, special talent, these are all friend connections. Well, actually best friend connections, but treason. Klaudia Godzik, a promise of a maths genius. I'm not sure what she has done with her life, but she certainly was a promise. Angelika Szlachta, working in economy, I think, quite intelligent, if not very, probably very. And I'm not sure what she's doing now, but whatever she's doing, she's probably doing it great. Natalia Świderska. Well, I don't know what she's doing, but I know that her mom works for the police. She's, I believe that, I mean, unless she has changed, she's a personality. So, and that's probably that defines her best. Sebastian Podborski. So these are all from Angelika Szlachta, Natalia Świderska, and Angelika Szlachta and Natalia Świderska are friend connections apart from the pupil connections, and then Sebastian Podborski is a pupil connection. Well, one of the pupils. Then Christian, whose surname I don't remember, but one of the pupils. And then another school, Michał Pacia. Michał Pacia, well, probably a transhumanist by now, or at least going in the direction. From what I know, he has graduated from the English college and gone for medicine. Probably he must have completed his studies by now. Marcin Gwóźdź, studying chemistry or pharmacology, I don't know, but probably doing quite well. Quite many of them are Assanges, I believe, and these are pupil teacher connections. So And Adrian Stokłosa. Well, you might get in trouble, but you never know whom Adrian Stokłosa was in his previous lifetime. Łukasz Dudek, a pupil-student connection. Evelina Półtorak, a no, actually a best friend connection, but of course treason and the treason resounding. Joanna Skowronek, a pupil-teacher connection. I hope she has not been destroyed. That's the only thing I can say. This is my icon of Christianity. This was my icon of Christianity. I don't know what has happened to her. Anna Kowalik, I had doubts here, but I decided to put her in due to our peer tuition meetings, where Anya was really worth a fortune. Not only Joanna Skowronek. Needless to say, both are beautiful. One is blonde, one is brunette. Mariusz Rakoczy. Well, you all know Mariusz Rakoczy. So I don't know what has become of Mariusz Rakoczy, but a pupil teacher connection. Kamil Rakoczy, a pupil teacher connection. Daniel Mazur, a pupil teacher connection. Dawid Steczko, do I recall the name correctly? A pupil teacher connection. Angelika Sroka, a pupil teacher connection. Jolanta Wlazło, a pupil teacher connection. Sebastian Sroka, a pupil teacher connection. Anna Sowińska, a pupil teacher connection. These are from Liszki. Now we are moving to the Church of Scientology. Eva Lefebvre, going towards 38 in 2002. Ron McMillan, probably a high OT already then, a supervisor. Kenny Gray, well, around OT3 at the time, I believe. A lot of problem for me, but he certainly was my connection. Daniel Malik, my EPFIC, so the person responsible for my training for the Sea Org. RTC representative, the he, not to confuse with the she, who gave me the spot check, which I passed with flying colors, becoming a star. Maria, the Russian Israeli, my only friend in the Sea Org, that is on the EPF, but then in the Sea Org, probably in prison by now. Pauline Lafont, I'm not sure what to say about Pauline, certainly a treason, but she is the sister of the head of human resources management, Mathilde, with whom I have an eternal war. But Pauline was the only person I could think of as trustworthy in my group. So I must have been mistaken terribly, but to be truthful, so there's Pauline Lafont. Steve the Snake. Steve the Snake would probably be my boyfriend. I'm not sure if it would probably have been my boyfriend. I'm not sure if it would have been successful had we not been in the Sea Org. But he would have certainly done his best, and we would have certainly gone at least for one date to see what happens next. I don't think we would have survived because he has different. He had, I don't know now, but probably he has not changed. He had a different set of values. He always wanted power. Steve from Africa. Oh, excuse me, my second best friend. So Pauline Lafont was my only female best friend, and Steve from Africa, the black boy, was my was my only was my only male friend. Steve from Africa. And he was dismissed from the Sea Org sometime before I was dismissed. Stephen of the Ship, that the Steves make me think of the Stephen of the Ship, and I cannot remember which one was Steve and which one was Stephen, but I think both each can be called either Steve or Stephen. Stephen of the Ship, the ship meaning a pub. So he was my boyfriend for a while, but we did not have any sexual intercourses, and I never delivered oral sex, so we are dealing with someone else. And I have my suspicions concerning a certain future learn professor by the name Zola or Zoya, I don't remember right now, but I'm not sure if it's not connected, and connected also with another person, that is Jamie the bodyguard. Jamie the bodyguard is the bodyguard of Julia Roberts, or was the bodyguard of Julia Roberts, which caused a lot of trouble in my life, as you might guess. Alex, sadly enough, I must confess, this is also my connection. And Alex is one of the first transvestites, I believe. I'm not sure if I should continue calling her she or change to the definite he. He looked pretty good as a woman. And no one believed he was not one. Sarah the Slovak girl and Paul King. So they are also my connections from London. A Nigerian family where I lived with Imo, Ini, Imo and Idong, and a rabbi family from London, an Orthodox rabbi family with Avromi, Benjamin, Miriam, with Miriam, Avromi, who was older, Avromi or Miriam? I don't remember, oh my god. With Avromi, Miriam, Benjamin, Hannah, and Jacob. And so this is the family where I was living. And then bands and singers. So normally I would not list them as connections, but with the new awareness perhaps I should. Shakin' Stevens, he starts the list. Then Aha, and this is the Aha, the first three records. Modern Talking, also at the time, so up to 89, I believe. Wham, and then George Michael, Jim Morrison, Gypsy Kings, Vaya con Dios, Ricky Martin, but this is not the Ricky Martin of today. Jennifer Lopez, also the earlier time, but I believe she's still she. But I believe Ricky Martin has changed. And Cher. Now, the cinema. Meg Ryan, and sadly enough, with shame, I must admit it, Tom Cruise. So you know the war. Now, the world of literature, whether alive or not, which, with the new awareness, is also important. Lucy Maud Montgomery, Leonore H. Polten, Tadeusz Różewicz, William Shakespeare, William Blake, T.S. Eliot, D.H. Lawrence, Jane Austen, the Bronte sisters, and the Lake poets. Um, I did go through the Harry Potter series, but I'm not sure this is if it is my connection really. The ones that I have listed are and King Arthur as the different world spiritual presence. King Arthur, of course, Great Britain. So, just to make sure you know what you are talking about. Agnieszka Beata Magdalena Rojek, the 23rd of March 2021.